Hi, this is Crystal Davis with Finding Your Divine Message for More Clients, More Money, and More Life. I was just shooting a video and I got a little bit too far because my phone ran out of storage and I had to restart. Well, actually, I had to stop, do some organizing, and restart this second piece that I wanted to give you all that are in my class, Finding Your Divine Message, this fall in 2018. And for those of you that are new to this message, what we're learning to do is to allow our inner world to match up with our higher selves, to really receive, to find your divine message is to receive ideas, next steps, to really get into sync with the universe. Again, whether you call that God, universe, source, it's a connection. It's a guided connection, so that makes it easier. But in the last video that I shared, we were talking about doing inner child work to create and really the pathway to being able to be this divine conduit to the ideas, perfect timing, synchronicity to what we would truly love to be, to do, and have, is through learning to create a relationship, an acknowledgement of our inner child that will then open up the doorway to our connection with our higher self. This is the way that we learn to uncondition ourselves away from action for the sake of action and really learn to open our hearts and connect with our higher purpose and create the business and lives that we would truly love. So last video, I sent that to you as well, but in this video, in the last video we talked about inner child. In this video, we're talking about tapping. Tapping on the meridian points in the body. I'll go through that. I'll go through a tapping exercise. Again, I'm not going to be very specific about, what I'm doing. I just really want you to learn this technique, and if you want to Google, I love tapping and Nick Ortner's work and whole body of work out there. My purpose is not to become an expert in tapping or to help you to become an expert in tapping. You can Google tapping in Nick Ortner if you want to do that. And I highly recommend you do that. I've done that. That's really where the school of thought that I come from, and the gifts that tapping brings us, again, to rewire our brains and to really help us to strengthen. So you don't really even need to know about inner child work, but to strengthen the way that we think, to allow, again, more space, more opening for us to create a greater connection with our inner child. And when we do that, we understand, again, when we get angered or frustrated, sad, whatever the emotion may be, that we understand that part of ourselves that never felt seen, never felt heard, didn't feel understood, and is using unsophisticated ways, right? Anger, sadness. It doesn't know. Our inner child was never taught how to really honor our emotions and didn't feel safe and protected. So it shows up in some ways that the only way it knew how when it was a child, and now even because it doesn't know how to get our attention other than through these ways, right? That just pop up. Another one of my mentors, Debbie Ford, used a great analogy of the beach ball. And if you're my client and if you've worked with me in the past, you've probably heard me use this analogy. It feels like the beach ball. If you ever try to hold a beach ball, Debbie Ford used this great analogy where if you're trying to hold that beach ball under the water, imagine not just one, but thousands, right? Or hundreds or even tens, right? It's impossible. It's going to pop up and it's going to hit you most likely in the face or hit somebody else in the face. And that's what our emotions do, because we don't understand really how to process them. Acknowledgement, that's a key word there. When we learn to acknowledge how we really feel, then by acknowledging that inner child, what we do is give it the space to really feel how it feels. So going back to tapping, what tapping does, whether you're aware of your emotions or not, it's a great tool to, as soon as you feel any emotion, let's say you're angered because you're not feeling seen, that somebody is taking it, you feel that somebody's taking advantage of you, and you feel that they're not seeing and they're not hearing you. You feel anger. So what tapping does is allow you to acknowledge that you're anger. So one of the what we do is we start, and this is called the karate point or chopping point, on the chopping point of the hand here, is to say, I deeply and completely love, accept, and forgive myself. And so I deeply and completely love, accept, and forgive myself for feeling angered. And I deeply and completely love and accept and forgive myself for not knowing how to feel my anger. And just keep tapping on the hand. I deeply and completely love, accept, and forgive myself for feeling anger at my loved one for not seeing, hearing, and understanding me. And I deeply and completely love, accept, and forgive myself. And for my loved one for making me feel angry. Okay, so that's the first step. And you can do that, usually it's 3 times. And I did a 4th time there because, again, it felt right to me there. Okay, so, and usually, I'm not feeling the anger right now, so whatever the emotion is for you, fill in the blank, but use those words. I deeply and completely love, accept, and forgive myself. You fill in the blank, okay? And then after you do that, then the first point is up here on the top of the head, after the karate point. You say, I choose a new behavior now, okay? Even though I feel angry, and I'm so angry that I was unseen and unheard and misunderstood, I choose a new behavior now. Okay. I choose, and then the next point is up here, I choose to see this in a new light. I choose to allow myself to feel angry. And it's okay. And the next point, it's okay that I feel angry. I choose to allow myself to feel angry now. And often, and you continue tapping the points, and often what you're going to experience is tears, the emotion. It's okay for me to feel angry. I deeply and completely love and accept that I am angry at this person who couldn't see, hear, and understand me. I am so sorry that I feel angry. But it's okay. It's okay that I feel angry. And deeply and completely acknowledge this anger for what it is. It's safe for me to feel angry. And I choose to allow myself to feel angry. You see how that works? And as you do this, going through the points again, I am so angry. But it's okay that I feel angry. I now choose to allow myself to feel angry. Feeling that emotion is okay. I now choose to feel angry and allow myself to feel angry. And I choose to change this pattern of feeling angry now. It's okay. So first we allowed ourselves to feel the anger and to be what it is, right? So when you're I'm not in that emotional state right now, but when you're in that emotional state, tapping through, you'll feel the emotions. You'll feel the anger, the sadness, whatever it may be. And you may, again, cry. When I've done this over the last couple of years, I absolutely allowed myself to feel the emotion, to cry, to get angry, whatever it may be. That's the most important piece. And then, as you work through this, the third statement is, I now choose a new pattern. And the next step may be for you, I now choose to allow myself to feel that anger and to choose to just be okay with that anger that I feel. But I choose to change the pattern and to show up in the way that I choose to show up, right? So here's where we're beginning to create space, observing the anger and choosing that I can observe the anger while it's happening, and that if I choose, when I'm ready to choose the new pattern of showing up in maybe a higher state where I can choose to be positive. But first, we have to choose to feel whatever is coming up. And through this, and you've seen me go through from here to here. Oh, actually, side of the eye. I forgot about that one when I was tapping. To here, to here, to here. Oh, and then there's also under the arm. You can use whichever tapping points make sense and feel right to you. The key point is, start here. I deeply and completely love, accept, and forgive myself. 4. And then I choose a new behavior now. First, new behavior is not running to being positive. It's allowing yourself to feel the anger. I choose to allow myself because I feel that way. It's just is what it is. And then the third one, I choose to change the pattern of behavior. Okay, that may be, maybe it's a small step of I choose to when I'm alone to feel that emotion. You don't have to ever express this to another person, but for you, using these techniques, this tapping and the inner child work we talked about in the last video, to just express your emotion can be, again, when you're by yourself, you're working these processes. That, for many of you, is the first step. This third statement is, I choose to change the pattern now, is when you recognize and realize, it's okay. I can choose to change this pattern. And a lot of this may be, you may not be ready for that. You may be in that first phase. So let's just literally start observing that. Where are you? Are you in that first phase where your inner child, it feels like there's this distant relationship? And you can see them, you can feel their anger. And maybe when we did the meditation, you couldn't see them, but you can feel if you're angered, sad. You can feel that there's an inner child that maybe is closed off and not ready. That's really the first stage. So then you want to go and do the inner child. Or when you're doing this tapping, you're really just going to stay in the anger and allow that to heal as you do this tapping. And, working through the process. But then in the more advanced stages, when you have a more connection with your inner child, that is where you're now really accepting that there's you can change the pattern. Okay, so that's moving further along. And then you might be saying something like, I now choose that I can observe and be present for my inner child. And it's okay to be angered. And I can choose to just observe and to be present no matter what's happening around me, right? I can be more objective when people are showing up, okay? It's not about me. They're upset, right? Well, you'll know that you're working this process and transforming yourself when you can be objective when somebody else is not being objective. They may be throwing all their stuff at you, but you have created space now. And you can observe that it's them, not you. Okay. Using Debbie Ford as another example, she has a great example of where you'll know the difference when you're being triggered emotionally by somebody and it's your work, because her example is somebody's walking down the street and you may look at them and say, yuck, that's the grossest, they've just spit, and that's the grossest thing you've ever seen. You're triggered by it emotionally, angered, livid, whatever it may be, right? You're triggered. But at the same time, there are people that can be walking down the street and see somebody spit and go, be curious about it. That's interesting. I wonder why they did that. Not triggered. It's not my behavior, it's theirs. And there's the space that we're talking about wanting to create, to where you're no longer triggered, a plaything for what other people say, think, they do, because it's not about you. You're very crystal clear on the inside, and you know that it's them or it's you, and what to do then when those situations occur. And then finally, the fourth statement, and the really the goal of doing both the inner child work and the tapping work, is to feel safe. It's safe, it's safe now for me to make a different choice. It's safe now for me to choose to be happy. And first, earlier we said it's safe for me to be anchored. In order to get to the safe for me to be happy, right, is once you create that space, and the inner child is now, you're in relationship, you're in communication regularly. This is me each and every day. I am being alone with myself is really therapeutic, powerful process, because I can be in that place of connection with my higher self, and at the same time allowing my inner child to communicate with me what she needs, what will make her feel safe and protected and loved. It's really important, all those manifestations, to find your divine message, to have the clients, the money, and the business and life you love. It all has to do with your inner child feeling safe, and that opens the door for you shining your light into the world to, again, attract the clients, the money, and the business and life you love. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that place. I know there's probably a lot more. I have those of you that are in class. This should really help you for next week, for us to really have then take the next steps on your journey. Remember, wherever you are, there you are, right here, right now. So for those of you that are in class, what's your next step with this? It's probably re-listening to both of these videos, taking the time for yourselves. For those of you that are new, it may be contacting me for your unique Brilliance Discovery session, where we can talk about how you can use these videos to take your next step, right? Maybe it's enrolling in my next classes. I'm going to have both afternoon and evening classes beginning in January 2019, or it may be just let's have some individual one-on-one sessions to helping you to create that inner relationship with your both your inner child and your higher self, so that you can create those divine downloads and truly find your divine message for more clients, more money, and the business and life you love. All right, everyone, hope you enjoyed these videos, and hope you're having a fabulous day wherever you may be. Thank you. Bye-bye.